Hi guys, welcome to Code Decode. So in the previous video, we have seen an example of overloading or static polymorphism in Java. So in this video, we are going to see type promotions. So we have covered the type promotions theory in the previous video, but this is important to see in the practical live example in the Java board. So today I'm going to demonstrate three things again, that what if the formal arguments matches the actual arguments data type. That is, if I pass int values and there is a method present with two int arguments. This is my first point of demonstration. Second, I'll demonstrate what happens if there is no method being same as that of the calling arguments, but it can be promoted. And third, what if I have two methods where both of the arguments can be promoted to a bigger one? So what will happen in the case of ambiguity? So let's get started. You have already seen all these things. This is my overloading example. I have three methods with two arguments, the three arguments and a different type of argument where one of the argument is long. So the first is when my calling method, so I'll remove this first for you. So this is an example where I have integer and integer, and this is the first case when I have an argument also with integer type. So I have two methods with two arguments. So where one is integer and integer, another is integer and long. But I'm calling with integer, hence the add method with two arguments of only integer will be called. So I'll run this application for you, and it says method with two arguments is called, and hence method with only two arguments is called, and nothing like long is being called. So this is the first case when my calling variables, that is 4, 5, which are of type int, is matched with my method of type two arguments integer type, and the formal arguments matches the data type of actual arguments. This is the happy case. The second case I was demonstrating is where it does not match, but it can be promoted to 1. So for that I will comment this. So what happens here is I have only two arguments method add, but one is of type long. So what will happen? Now when I call 2, 3, it says 2 is integer, 3 is integer. So I'm searching with integer, but there is no method with only two arguments of type integer. So what will happen? Since, do you remember one theory I've told you that a smaller value can be adjusted into a bigger box? So integer is smaller value and a bigger box is long value. So your 5 can be easily adjusted in B. Why? Because smaller things can be adjusted into bigger box. So this method will be called. So this is my second example for you. I'll run this and I'll show you. So it says two arguments is called, but B is of type long. So my integer 3 is automatically up type promoted to long value, which is long B. So this was my second example. Now for the third demonstration was then when one of the one or more than one methods matches the type arguments and anything can be promoted. So 2 and 3 are of type what? Integer. Now what I do, I have one more add method with type of where A is of type integer, B is of type long. Now A is of type long, B is of type integer. So when I call it with 2, 3, right? So 2 is integer. It can be, this method can be called 2 is integer, 3 is type promoted. But this method can also be called because again 2 is a smaller int value which can be adjusted into longer long value, which is a bigger box. So even this method or this method, both of the methods can be called. Here A is of type long. So what will happen when I go to my main class? It gives me a compile time error. Why? Remember this method, this is very important from interview perspective. Method add of type int, long is ambiguous for type my class name. So why is it ambiguous? Because there is one more add method of type long and int. So hence ambiguity issue comes and we cannot do this. So this was the three important points I want to make you watch. Is the first one, formal argument matches, happily my method is called. When it does not matches but one of my argument is smaller, and another formal argument is bigger. So a smaller value can be adjusted to bigger value, and there the type promotion happens. And the third is the worst case, when more than one method can be type promoted with the formal argument, and hence ambiguity issue occurs. And the compile, and what happens, does that give compile time error or runtime error? This is the interview question. When two or more ambiguous methods are present, then in case of overloading, I get compile time error, not the runtime error, because the compiler is not able to understand whether to promote 2 to long value or 3 to long value. So that was all about type promotions. Thank you.